Good morning. It's a little after 5:30 in the morning and I'm headed to Nanyuki. This is going to be a different series. It is all access and you are watching Rina Hicks kind of taking you on a ride. I want to go to Nanyuki. My husband and I bought some land there some time back. Actually, it's been a couple of years and I've never gone. And there's all these changes in the lands ministry and in the way that, in the land policy in Kenya basically. And I kind of want to understand a few things as well as see the land we bought and just understand what can we do with it and how can we basically take advantage of it. And I decided, because we bought it through Goshen acquisitions, to get in touch with Solomon Wangwe and for him to take me to the land and ask him questions on the way as he's doing his thing and going to work. So I'm plugging into his day and we're just about to leave, so I will take you along with us on the ride. So please do join us and subscribe if you haven't, because you don't want to miss this one. This is Rina Hicks and you are watching Money Wise. We're somewhere in Sagana now, just heading towards Nanyuki. I am in the car with Solomon Wangwe. For those of you who've been watching this channel for a while now, you'll actually know that I've had Solomon on the show before, and it was really to just kind of understand about buying land in Kenya. And now I did actually buy land, and so we'll be understanding even further a few more details. So I have a question for you, Solomon, and the first question I have is, how did you even get into land buying? You know, how did you, why, what pushed you into getting into land buying and selling?
Well, 2011, I think it was, a year after I got married, my wife and I had, a little change in savings. Okay. Actually, at the time, I think it was about 150,000 bobs. And we just knew we couldn't leave it in the bank. I mean, at the time, fixed deposit accounts were offering 7-8% annually, less, ledger fees, bank fees, and 15% withholdings. Yeah. Didn't sound very exciting. Yeah. So we just knew we had to do something a bit more aggressive to grow our savings. Yeah. So I'd have conversations or find myself in conversations with strangers, friends, family, who would always talk about this random piece of land that they bought, a few years back and was now worth several times. I mean, in some cases, you're talking 5-10 times what they paid for the piece of land. And so that got my interest, having been involved in real estate in the US before I came back. In the US, you don't get those kinds of returns in those periods of time. So I decided to kind of look into it. I was terrified of getting conned like everyone else, because due diligence in this country is not very transparent. So, I wasn't interested in losing the little savings we had at the time. Yeah. But I met this lady called Rose from church, who had, an amazing story to share about her net worth over years, despite her limited income because of property. So she really encouraged me to take the plunge and bust a move, as it were. So I went off looking for land in a place called Konza, based on Rose's advice, because the government was planning this Konza Techno City project, and her idea was, if you buy early enough, at some point in the undefined future, it's gonna be worth a lot more, and it'll be better than having left it in the bank. So that kind of made sense to me, and she agreed to mentor me, so that gave me some comfort. And that's really how the journey to invest in land began. And the idea was simply to grow our savings, nothing beyond that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then it became a business at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, I mean, I often refer to it as a happy accident.
A happy accident.
Yeah, because unfortunately at the time, the smallest piece of property I could find after weeks of scouting was 15 acres the owner wanted hundreds of thousands of dollars of shillings, hundreds of thousands of shillings per acre.
Okay.
I only had 150,000 between my wife and I in our savings. So, you know, and surprisingly to us, a group of friends that we knew from church, you know, helped us finance that acquisition. I mean, I didn't even pray for that. I mean, it was so random, it seemed, that we would share our experience looking for land and the issues we were having with pricing and affordability. And then this group of friends offered to help us finance the acquisition, and they said, hey, sell off whatever you didn't want to keep for yourself and give us back our money and a small profit on top of that, whatever you decide. And through that process, you know, some of these friends and family approached us and said, you know, I'd love to buy land in Konza. I can't afford 15 acres or even a whole acre. I can pay you for a small piece, maybe a portion of an acre. You can put all our 4 names on the 1 acre title deed so that we have co-ownership, and that way it's more affordable. Give us a price, and you know, we trust you, we know about you, we know where to come find you should anything go wrong, and you know whose neck to kind of twist and strangle if things go south. And so that's really how Goshen Acquisitions was born. A network of close friends and family who felt like there was some kind of accountability in the process should anything go wrong. And we ended up selling a good chunk of that piece of land, and we pressed repeat, and we've been pressing repeat ever since.
What was the return you made on that first piece?
Wow, I mean, in about 2 years time, we did about 300% return net.
So you wow. So you bought the land and waited 2 years, or did you sell some of it in between the two?
Yeah, so we sold in phases from about 2 months when we signed the sale agreement. And you know, and this is a great piece of advice for those who are out there wondering about how do I buy property if I don't have enough money. I mean, we started off pooling funds with close friends and family who helped us buy the 15 acres. And then their friends and family heard that we were buying these 15 acres and said, hey, we want a piece of that action, sell us some, have your markup, whatever that is, but let us buy in early. And you know, these little pieces of the puzzle kind of came together and allowed us to sell. And so we did that initially to raise a balance. After raising the deposit, we told people, listen, you can pay this much and your funds are helping us pay for this 15 acres. Once we were done with that, we waited a little bit and sold off. After the subdivision process was complete, we started selling off at slightly higher margins. And then about 13 months later, the President Kibaki at the time broke ground at Konza Techno City, and I mean that had an international profile. So all of a sudden, people from even the diaspora were calling and saying, you know, we have to buy from you because you come highly recommended by a friend or family who knows about what you're doing. And you know, people were offering insane amounts of money just to have a piece of land in this area that is now apparently going to have all this value addition. And so that's how the returns were realized over the 24-month process. You know, netting us at the end 300. It was actually about 320%.
320% from that, for within 2 years. That's amazing. That's such an awesome return, by the way.
Crazy. The criminal returns in developed countries. I tell some of my friends in the diaspora that I left there, and usually I get a strange look. Either you're lying or you're selling drugs, because those returns don't make any sense, right? So but that's a reality.
Great. So I want us to actually also now discuss how do you get into land, and do you have to have millions of shillings? And I'll be looking at that next. So we'll just stop this here for a moment. And so keep watching. and subscribe if you haven't. This is Rina Hicks and you are watching All Access.